This is the vastus medialis, and it is one head to an enormous muscle called the quadriceps femoris. Now I want to show you what this thing looks like, and to do this, we're actually utilizing a 100% free Kenhub article. We've gone ahead and left a link down in the description below, but I gotta scan it because this is a massive article, and this is the quadriceps femoris. And like I said, this is one muscle. Now, if you're anything like me though, like when I'm teaching this in the classroom, it's easier to teach this as though each individual head is its own unique muscle. But in reality, it is one giant thing. And I want to show you this, right? We're not going to spend a ton of time on the quadriceps femoris itself because we want to focus on vastus medialis. But there is something we need to understand. All four of the heads of the muscle quadriceps femoris, which by the way, you can only see three. We can see this tiny teardrop shaped one. This is the vastus medialis, the focus of today's video. And then we can see rectus femoris here. Kind of looks like this feather, really cool looking one. Then on the side we can see a little bit of a really big muscle called vastus lateralis, but we cannot see one that's deeper down called the vastus intermedius. But regardless, all four of them, if you look, they converge into one singular structure here. This is what's called the quadriceps tendon. Now, if you remember, tendons are going to connect muscle to bone. And so what's happening is these muscles are all connecting to this right here, which is the patella, right? This is your kneecap. But then emerging from the patella is this piece of connective tissue, which we call the patellar ligament. Because again, ligaments connect bone to bone. And so what's going to happen is all four heads are going to pull on that patella, which is then going to pull on the tibia down here. This is essential to understand about the quadriceps. Now, also understand that the quadriceps are really 4 of 6 muscles belonging to an even larger muscle compartment called the anterior compartment of the thigh. So what's also inside of there is going to be the articularis genus, which is going to be deep to here, and then the sartorius. I'm saying all that to just kind of give you an understanding of where we are at. But our focus is going to be the vastus medialis. But I want you to remember it from this view, because this is only one small portion of the vastus medialis. So again, let's go ahead, peruse down through this 100% free Kenhub article. Don't mind me, just going to say that one more time. And we can now see the vastus medialis. Now what's cool from this view is we can also see a lot more, including a muscle that I just mentioned that we couldn't see before called the vastus intermedius. So this is the fourth head of the quadriceps femoris muscle. But we are really looking at the vastus medialis. This thing is long. Right? Like from the other view, we only saw this, and that's because this is what is superficial. The rest of it is going to be deep to rectus femoris, sartorius, and even part of the adductors. So this right here is going all the way up top. So let's mention its origins, because there are a few of them. Now, we're really only going to focus on a couple. You can always get more technical with this, but I always like to teach my students that the vastus medialis begins all the way up here at what's called the intertrochanteric line. Now, what does that mean? Now, if you remember, the femur has 2 giant bumps on it. All right, you can actually feel this on the side of your thigh, well, more of your hip region, and that's called the greater trochanter. Now there's another one that is on the back side, which is where this muscle here, this is called the iliopsoas muscle, and this is going to wrap around and insert at the lesser trochanter. Well, between them on the anterior side is something called the intertrochanteric line, and that's exactly where vastus medialis is going to originate. But what it's also originating, or where I should say, is on the back side of the femur. So on the back side there's this really sharp ridge line that we call the linea aspera. Now what I want to do is actually show it to you from this view here. It's actually, yes. All right, so we can see this is cross-section. So cross-sectional anatomy is amazing. Like, in all honesty, this is one of my favorite ways to learn anatomy, because it forces your mind to really work in difficult ways, right? Basically, you're having to kind of like orient yourself, like, what am I looking at? What direction is this? And kind of just start making sense of it. But If we attempt to do that, you can see here we have this blue line showing you where this is a cross-section of. So this is about mid-thigh, and you can see we have this highlighted green portion. This is the vastus medialis. And then right here is going to be the femur. Now, the important thing here is it's reaching around behind it. And this is where we're getting to the linea aspera. That's the sharp line on the back side of the femur. And it's originating on the medial aspect of that linea aspera. And then it wraps around, and then it's going to go down. Again, it's coming all the way up from that intertrochanteric line as well as that linea aspera. Now, you can also see, well, you can see we also have radiological images. It's almost like we want to make sure you are able to see and understand everything you're looking at from as many different ways as possible, because that has been proven time and time again to be the most valuable way to learn. But we're going to go back to this image here. And now we can also have to understand that it's not crossing the hip, right? So only one of the quadriceps is going to cross the hip, and that is the rectus femoris. But vastus medialis doesn't, meaning it only has an action at the knee, and that's going to be this joint right here. But since it comes down and wraps around, and remember, it's blending into that quadriceps tendon here, which is then going to pull on the patella, which is then going to pull on the tibia through that patellar ligament. And as it does that, and we're going to see this action, but I want to explain it to you right now. It's going to do extension of the knee. It's kind of like you are kicking a ball. But it's also going to be capable of a small amount of what's known as internal rotation of the knee. So internal rotation, there's only like 10 degrees or so in the knee. It's very, very small, right? Your knees, like if you just sit there like right now and just like move your knees back and forth, right? There's not a lot of movement. Try to twist them. Just like try. In fact, you can't unless you're actually at like about 90 degrees. So you have to flex your knee in that 90-degree position, and then you'll be able to get like a little bit of twisting like that. You'll get a teeny little bit. There's only about 10 degrees, and that is going to be partially performed by the vastus medialis. But its main function is extension of the knee. In fact, all 4 quadriceps heads are going to perform extension of the knee. Really, really cool. And then the last thing we got to look at before we see this muscle in action is going to be its innervation. And so what it's being innervated by is a nerve known as the femoral nerve. So the femoral nerve is going to innervate the muscles of that anterior compartment of the thigh. So all the quadriceps are going to be innervated by that femoral nerve. But what we're going to do is we're going to come on up here, and we have this video. Now this video is a premium feature. So this article is 100% free, but this video is a premium feature. I will show you just how amazing this is. I'm going to go ahead and hit full screen, and we are going to hit play. And this is going to show an animation of what vastus medialis is going to do. Now, if you were able to listen to it, just doesn't make much sense to listen to it right now, you'd see Joao, who is an amazing member of the Kenhub team, explaining that how would this getting it break down, right? So it's showing like this sitting position. You can see the hip is in the flexed position and the knee is in the flexed position. Now we're going to witness extension of the knee happening, right? So again, it's like you're kicking a ball. That is what vastus medialis is going to do. It is going to extend the knee, and again, all of the quadriceps are going to be doing this. But remember, it's not that it's flexing the hip. We're just putting the hip in this flexed position so you can actually see this a little bit better. But remember, I also said there's another action that it's going to do. And this other action is going to be internal rotation of the knee. But remember, it's only 10 degrees. This is tiny, tiny, tiny little amount. But we're going to still be able to see what that kind of looks like, more or less. And you have to ask yourself, like, why would your knee be able to twist or need to twist? And you can see it happening there, right? That this is mainly just going to be through walking, right? So as you're walking, you want to make sure the knee is twisting a little bit in order to be able to make sure you're going in a straight line. So walking, running, those types of things is where you are going to want to have that internal rotation. There is also external rotation, so you can see it happening right there. That would be internal rotation of the knee. You can see it going towards that dotted blue line at the center. Yeah, right, so these rotations are all going to be super, super important and happening as you are walking. But Hopefully, this has made a lot of sense and you now have a much better understanding of the vastus medialis. Once again, this is a 100% free Kenhub article. We've left a link down in the description below, so be sure to click on that and check it out and let us know what you think. While you're down there, like this video if you enjoyed it. Leave us a comment letting us know what other videos you'd like us to discuss in the future. But as always, I've really enjoyed hanging out with you, and I will see you next time.